Talk more about this is Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger from Illinois. Thanks for being here.
Thanks. Wow.
It's been quite a morning, hasn't it?
Yeah. Morning, evening, week.
So let's start with Senator Cruz.
Yeah.
Saying he's not even sure he's going to vote for Donald Trump. Certainly not going to endorse him. Held a big meeting with his delegation at a breakfast meeting and riled up the crowd. Some supported him. Not.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Look, there's a lot of us that have some concerns with Donald Trump, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that, but for different reasons. If you're invited to speak at the convention, though, you have to endorse him. I mean, this is Donald Trump's convention. He won the primary fair and square, and I think this was, I was blown away. I think it was ludicrous of Ted Cruz to do it. And it's obviously, I think, political posturing for whatever comes next. That's all.
So had Donald Trump asked you to speak at the convention, you would have said no?
I think so, yeah. I think I would have said no. And because, look, he deserves to have somebody that can stand up there and, you know, endorse him enthusiastically. I'll probably end up ultimately supporting him, but it's not overly enthusiastic. So it wouldn't be fair to him, and probably wouldn't be best for me either to say that.
So when you look at your party, is it coming apart?
I don't think it's coming apart, but there's a fight for the soul of it right now. As somebody that's you know, really calls myself a Republican largely because of our role in the world, that's what attracted me to this party when I was young. I have a lot of concerns. You know, discussions about what's the role of NATO. I've very bluntly called this, that's a narcissistic foreign policy. It's the idea that the world needs us, we don't need the world. And it's simply untrue. Look, without NATO, we never would have defeated the Soviet Union. NATO invoked Article 5 without thinking about it, really, after 9/11. So the idea that, you know, we attack President Obama for saying our allies don't trust us and our enemies don't fear us, well, saying you're not going to invoke Article 5 automatically means our allies won't trust us, and our enemies, Russia, won't fear us because they think they can march into the Baltics. And
well, Paul Manafort came out a short time ago and said, you know what, Donald Trump, he meant to say he wanted to modernize
This
NATO.
happens all the time. I mean, Donald Trump says what he thinks about NATO, which is it's obsolete, get out of it, you know, not automatic defense, and then his campaign has to clean it up later. And this is, I think this is the problem with what we've seen the whole campaign. But regardless of what he really meant, the message that this sends to our allies goes beyond domestic politics. This is like real people in real countries that have real problems, that safety concerns, and saying things like this is devastating.
So explain to our viewers, because I'm sure you know, some of them may not understand NATO's role and what our responsibility is to our fellow nations within NATO. So if a country is in trouble, like the Baltic states, one of the Baltic states is in trouble, and Russia attacks them, then the United States has to defend them.
Right. Yes. And so what that is, it's an Article 5 invocation. It means an attack on one is an attack on all. And that has, for 50 years in the Cold War and since, defended all of our countries. Because, look, Russia knows, and there's raw calculus in this, they know if they attack the Baltics and they have to face the might of the United States and its allies, they won't do it. So the willingness to go to war, not recklessly, makes war all the less likely. Trust me, Vladimir Putin would love to rebuild the Soviet Union. The only thing stopping him is NATO in the West.
Okay, so something else that Donald Trump said in this New York Times article. He said that the United States has no right to lecture other nations about human rights violations, not when we have people shooting police officers.
You know, and that's, again, ludicrous. It's, look, politics, and especially on foreign policy, it's not always about fairness, it's about strength and power. And look, if the United States is not writing the rules on human rights, or not writing the rules on trade, somebody else will do it. It'll either be Russia's version of human rights, China's version of human rights, or ISIS version of human rights. I think we have not just it's not lecturing, it's a responsibility with all the things we've been given, the strength, the resources and everything. Billions of people look to us for leadership. Our view of human rights is way better than other countries' views.
Okay, so Donald Trump is going to give his big speech tonight. What can he say in that speech that will convince you to vote for Donald Trump?
Well, you know, look, I was really close yesterday, and then this stuff comes out. I mean, what I want to hear from Donald Trump, I don't have to agree with him on everything, and I'm not going to agree with him on everything. I want a coherent view of domestic policy, you know, the need to talk about entitlement reform to get our budgets in order. And I want to hear some coherent view on foreign policy. This stuff doesn't make me excited about that, but if, you know, it's what it comes down to. So, you know, as a Republican, you have some responsibility to your party, but I'm an American before I'm a Republican, and I have to evaluate through those lenses.
All right. Congressman, thanks so much for being with us.